And as we move along here in the bottom of the second inning, we are so happy that we're joined by the new commissioner of baseball, Rob Manfred. Rob, how you doing?
I'm just great. I'm just great.
Now,
glad to be here on a beautiful afternoon at Yankee Stadium. No better way to spend an afternoon.
Mark Teixeira leads off. Swing and a miss. How cool is it to have your name on the ball?
The name on the ball is like the gift that keeps on giving, you know? I mean, every time you see it, it's, you know, pretty good.
Teixeira with a ground ball to short. And there's one away. What brings you here today, Rob?
I came up, Michael Milken is here with the prostate cancer effort. He had a group of people who've been very generous to his cause, and he asked me to come up to speak to him, so I came up and did a little hour and 15 minutes with them, and then I figured I was here. Maybe you'd let me be on television.
Absolutely. How's baseball going so far, first 2 months plus?
Well, we feel like we're off to a great start. Got great competitive balance. We feel like we're going to have some really good races. We're really pleased with some of the initiatives that we've undertaken. We've gotten some really good cooperation from the players on the pace of game effort. So we feel like we're off to a strong start.
We were talking just before you came on, Mr. Commissioner, about some of the young stars who are coming into the game, and you know they're going to be around for a long time. We have Bryce Harper here with the Nationals, and he's been fun to look at. It's the first time I've really seen him play in person. He looks like he's going to be some kind of player. You
know, I think you make a great point. I think the game is in a great position to move forward because you got this generation that's all coming together. Kershaw, Posey, Bryce Harper. You know, you just go on and on with the really great Andrew McCutchen, great players that are going to carry the game for a number of years.
You just experienced your first draft, Mr. Commissioner. How did that play out?
Well, you know, everything's new right now for me, and I have to say that the draft was more fun than I expected. It was really an enjoyable evening for me. You know, Al, it takes you back to the basics. The kids that attend the draft, the young men that attend the draft, make the evening. It's about the players, and I think one of the things we need to do to grow that product is to make sure we get as many kids there because it's really an exciting moment in their lives and makes great TV.
Yeah, I don't think I found out until the next day that I was the #1 draft pick.
You know, we were laughing about that even when I started in the game. They used to do the draft. It was a conference call. All there was were a bunch of guys sitting around in a conference room. There was nothing to it. But we've made something of an event out of it, and I think working with the people at the network, we're going to make it even better.
1-0 count on Carlos Beltran. 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the second. Gonzalez deals.
Can I ask him has he ground more than this inning?
I'll stay as long as you want.
He's going to stay.
I was going to 2 outs. You can't do this because if it's a long answer about youth baseball, and your initiative has been great.
I'll stay another half for youth baseball.
Please.
Definitely.
Right. No, but you went to the Little League World Series, which I thought was outstanding, and I know there's a lot of things in the hopper that you're doing.
Yeah, it's a real area of focus for us. It's interesting. It is actually an investment in the future for baseball because the 2 biggest determinants of fan avidity as an adult is did you play as a kid and how old were you when you went to the ballpark the first time. So we're really trying to focus on both pieces of that. I was actually happy. I was just upstairs in a suite, and the next suite over some guy had 5 kids and were playing hooky today. I said, you're doing God's work.
No, but that's true. It's not necessarily about making future big leaguers, which that just happens, but the longer these young baseball players can play, you've got a future fan.
Right. It's you know, it's about a big pipeline at the beginning, you know, and if kids play 5, 6, 7 years, 3, 4, 5 years, doesn't matter. It makes a huge difference in whether they're a fan for the rest of their lives. And obviously, the more you get in at that level, the more stick with it, the more talent you have that actually have a chance to play in the big leagues.
Now, I wanted to ask you, Mr. Commissioner, about the All-Star voting. So the American League All-Star voting's come out, and at this point, 7 Royals lead. Now, the Royals are a very, very good team.
Yeah.
But 7 Royals lead. Is there an issue there?
Well, you know, it's interesting. We've got a ways to go.
Right.
We are actually double the number of votes that we were last year at this time, which is, you know, a really strong sign of fan engagement with the game. You know, Kansas City is just really a hot market for us right now. People are turning out and voting. But I have a feeling that what you're going to see, Michael, is in places like Detroit, they're going to look around and say, Miguel Cabrera deserves to be the starting first baseman. Let's get on it. So we'll see how that all plays out.
Now, this is the part where it's a little uncomfortable for me. If the All-Star game counts, I mean, would you have the fans make up a lineup for Game 7 of the World Series?
Well, I think that the All-Star game determining home field advantage has been a positive thing in terms of the way that the players approach the game. I mean, I think the players pay a lot of attention to the game, and it's helped keep our All-Star game the best All-Star game in professional sports. It does cause, with promotions like fan voting, a little uneasiness at the edges. I agree with you. But you know what? You have a great manager with a dugout full of great players. They're going to figure out how to play competitively.
Is there any way to kind of equalize it and give the fans a portion, maybe the players or maybe some members of the press?
Well, right now the player vote determines the vast majority of the substitutes, and I think that actually that's something we negotiated obviously with the MLBPA, and I think it's been a huge improvement. I think it makes sure that in the dugout, at least in terms of the substitutes that are available, you got the guys who are having the best year, and it does help on the competitiveness issue that you raised, Michael.
The pace of play, I know the big bugaboo number, I guess, is try to keep a game under 3 hours, and so far it's been well under that?
Yeah, we're running about 251 right now.
What was it last year?
We were 302 last year.
Wow.
We were 302 last year. I haven't focused on the number so much as, we have people who are out watching the games all the time. They're in ballparks. And what I really want to have people say is, it's just a little crisper. It's just moving along a little better and not get tied up in the numbers too much. Because, as you know, average game time can be affected by a lot of different things that happen during the game. So we do feel good about the initial results. People think it's moved along pretty well.
Look at how beautiful that signature is.
How many times
That's a great Christmas gift.
Yeah, I had a very tough taskmaster on that one. I'll tell you about that.
All right, we'll go to the third inning. 0-0 in the bottom third of the Nationals' order against Nathan Eovaldi. The big right-hander deals, and that one's popped up on the right side. Teixeira gives it a look, and it's out of play. Now we are talking with the Commissioner of Baseball, Rob Manfred, who shows, and you see the Audi A3 scoreboard, 0-0, has a career in TV, because that was a great tease about the taskmaster, about how you signed the baseball.
Well, so literally the day after the election in Baltimore, Howard Smith, longtime baseball employee, good friend of both Al's and mine, shows up in my office. He's got a mitt full of pens and these index cards, and he says, we need to get all-star balls out into the market. You got to sign for me. Well, I had to sign for 45 minutes before Howard would take a signature that was acceptable to him, and so it was a lot of work, but he did a great job. He did 4 mock-ups, and then you actually get to pick the one that you like the way it looks.
And you like how it looks?
I do. And I try to make sure when I sign a ball that it looks something like the signature on there. So it's.
Beltran makes the play for the first out. Now I have to ask you this. I know you've said publicly that you enjoy watching Bartolo Colon hit. It's entertaining.
I did.
Do you think that DH
hit or run?
We will never see the DH in the National League, at least until Colon retires.
Well, it's interesting. I have never been bothered by the idea that there's a little difference between the two leagues. I love to hear people fight about it, and I'm a big one for the idea that if people are talking about baseball, it's good for all of us. And I think it's a great source of debate. I think there's a number of owners in the National League that would be very reluctant to move to the DH, and I can't ever see us getting rid of the DH, at least not now when we're in a period where people are talking about a lack of offense.
Well, I felt that way as well, Rob, as a pitcher. Obviously, I'd rather in the National League pitch against another pitcher, but does it possibly take more instances of a great pitcher and an Adam Wainwright or somebody, we saw a few years ago with Chim-Ming Wang, who got hurt hitting. Does it hurt a club owner when it starts hurting the pocketbook when you have aces that go down, or it's still?
It's interesting. I think you put your finger on what sparked the current conversation about the DH. Wainwright getting hurt like that, obviously, it causes concern among people. But My guess is Bill DeWitt will be no on a DH. Adam Wainwright injury or not. That's my guess.
Does it have to be a total vote? I mean, just everybody has to agree on it?
Well, no, the National League would have to. Now you're asking me a hard question.
Yeah. I mean,
look at the bylaws.
I'd have to look at that one.
Okay.
But I think it's a National League issue, really.
And also the Players Association has to approve it, too.
And that would be a rule change. It would be mandatory. And generally, I think the Players Association been cooperative on this issue. They're fine with the status quo. I think eliminating DH jobs would be a problem for them, and they'd probably be in favor of expanding it.
Danny Espinosa at the plate. What's the greatest initiative right now for your office? What are you trying to do that's foremost on your mind?
Clearly, the biggest thing is our focus on young people. We feel that the research shows that youth participation is determinant of whether you're a fan, and the youth space is so competitive right now. I mean, with my own kids, I saw it. They have so many more alternatives, and maybe even more troubling, if you're good in one sport, the coaches in that sport want you to play one sport all year round. And it makes the space very, very competitive. And we need to make sure, we need to work with the great youth organizations we have out there to make sure that we're getting our share of kids playing our game.
Is that also your biggest concern, or other things concern you about the game?
Well, no, that is really my biggest concern. I want to make sure that at the end of my term, we've taken steps to make sure that the game gets passed on to the next generation the same way it was passed on to us.
You've got such a high-profile job, and you're the steward of this great American treasure. Do you ever sit back and go, wow, I'm the commissioner of Major League Baseball?
Yes, more than you might think.
Really?
I mean, it takes a very long time, I think, to get adjusted to the idea that you've been entrusted with what I think is the best job. I really do think is the best job in the world, and a great responsibility for something that's an important part of our culture, not just a game, not just a sport.
Well, you've been around it a long time. How long have you been at the commissioner's office?
I came inside in 1998, and I started as an outside lawyer in 1987. So it's been a long time, and I benefited tremendously from being around the game, observing Commissioner Seelig. Had some painful lessons early on, but
from the standpoint of 30 teams and being the commissioner of baseball, it's got to be difficult to keep everybody happy. That's the way I would think.
It's interesting. I think when you start focusing on keeping everybody happy, you can get a little bit off track. I think you need to focus on the merits of the issues that come in front of you. And, our owner group is actually a good group. I think they believe if you're deciding things on the merits, whether they like this decision or that decision, they hang with you over the long haul.
Commissioner, great to see you, as always.
Thank you.
Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. I enjoyed it, guys.
That is Rob Manfred.